Who is Javier Milei, this force of nature from Argentina, this shooting star or ascending star, however you may want to see him? He's quite a character. He's took Argentina and the world by storm. He's the big talk. For those of you who don't know, or maybe you did hear, he had a recent interview with Tucker Carlson, which is now taken the record as the most watched video interview of all time. It has beaten the likes of David Frost with Richard Nixon, Oprah Winfrey with Michael Jackson, and the interview that had number one position until a few weeks ago was Tucker Carlson's interview with Donald Trump. It is now in number 2. So who is this man? He is an economist by trade, now a politician, a member of the Congress, of the Argentinian Congress. Before I go any further, my name is Edgar Montoya. You're watching me either on the channel American Update or the Language Cafe. I'm going to give a little introduction to Javier Milei. Also, for those of you maybe who didn't watch the interview with Tucker Carlson, give a summary and my thoughts, my ideas on it, and also follow it up with my projection, my prognosis for what will happen if Milei is elected president. What's the near future of Argentina hold? What's the outlook if he's elected, or if he's not elected? What may happen with Argentina? It's a difficult situation. My personal interest in it comes because I'm Argentinian on my mother's side. I'm proud of it. Peruvian on my father's side. Overall, always very interested in Latin American politics. So who is he, this bombastic man? Exactly that. He's bombastic, he's eccentric. Some people will say he's rude, he's boorish. They call him the Argentinian version of Donald Trump. Okay, but interesting talking about that interview that he had with Tucker Carlson. I've seen him in other interviews in Spanish, and he was very calm and very even-tempered, and had a very professional interview with Tucker Carlson. They both did very well. Did not speak over each other. And Javier Milei came across very well. But in other interviews, he comes across as very tough, wanting his way, thin skin, gets angry easily, very demanding. Maybe gets angry more easily than Trump. That's saying something. Trump, by the way, likes him. Trump supports him. Javier Milei supports Trump. He calls himself a liberal, but not a liberal, he said, he'd make clear to Tucker Carlson, not a liberal in the traditional American sense, the way we say liberals. He calls himself a liberal libertarian. And he's eccentric, he's bombastic, he's, like I said, he's a force of nature. He gets loud, he gets irritated very easily. He has some eccentricities about him. In the primary last month, he got 30%. He came out of nowhere. He was projected to get 20% of the vote. He ended up with 30. He was number 1. And now all ears or all eyes are on him. They're up in arms about him in Argentina. He's talked about around the world. He's accused. How is he seen around the world? Well, first of all, he's accused of being a Nazi. I think anybody who's right of left, even center, if you don't go along with the socialist trend, the status quo, they will be quick to label you a Nazi. It was done with Trump. It was even done with, it's a term that's used too loosely, too wildly. Republicans did use it with Obama too, to be honest. It's like the worst thing you could call anybody is a Nazi. So then again, when you've called it, it's like it loses its power, loses its meaning if you call anybody a Nazi. Some quotes I'd like to share from you before I start talking about the interview. Quotes by Milei, maybe get a sense of who he is. He said in one quote, "I didn't come here to lead lambs, but to awaken giants." Also talking about political castes. I'm reading from my notes. He calls them useless parasites, the politicians who never worked a day in their life. They don't know anything about work. He also, another one was, he said, well, what bothers him too is the idiom, the maxim that he said, it is said, is believed today, that where there is a need, there's a right. But he said somebody pays for those, for the fulfillment of those rights, to take care of those needs. The press, how does the press see him? Reuters called him a radical right-wing candidate. Time magazine called him a populist. The magazine El País called him ultra-right libertarian, representing an angry Argentina. That's pretty fierce. And pretty true, maybe. It's a very angry Argentina, with the peso now, I think, over 500 to 600 pesos to the dollar. Inflation through the roof, I think at over 120%. It is a disaster. I have a friend who told me that who lives there, who said if it weren't for his grandchildren, he would be living back in the United States. The BBC called Milei a Trump admirer. Oh no, anything but that. It's pretty fierce. Who was he? He was a soccer player. He explained to Tucker Carlson he was a former soccer player, a rock star, an economist. He explained those three as part of his appeal, maybe, to especially the young people in Argentina. To get into the interview, we said in the interview, he referred to Argentina as embracing the fact that they have been pretty much embracing socialism for over 100 years now. Something he didn't mention so much, but to me is a big negative stain on Argentina, is the stain and the force of Peronismo from Juan Perón, that has affected Argentina for over 70 years. And Milei is not a Peronista, he's definitely anti-Peronist, anti-politicians. He wants to turn the nation around. As a libertarian, he said, he's not a liberal, but a liberal libertarian. He believes in life, liberty, and property, and the rights of people to those things. He also said, well, he denounced the socialists as not believing in the invisible hand of God, or that government should have an invisible hand. They believe there should be a clause. They believe it's government needing to have a claw in the state. He says socialism creates social justice too. He spoke against that. Creates an unequal treatment. Creates an unequal treatment of the public, and is preceded by robbery. He says that the government too in Argentina, and governments, this may be true of governments around the world, they create bureaus, they create departments, organizations that do nothing. That he said, in his words, make a situation worse. He talked about rents. There was a movement to take care of, control rents, to fix the rents. It was made worse. Situation of hunger, it's made worse. He mentioned poverty and unemployment, now worse in Argentina. He says the state creates nothing, and what they try to create, they do poorly. I think an example in the United States would be, so many people say, the post office, for example. It is run, postal service run by the United States, but it's a lot of people say it's a poor job done of that. He opposes abortion. He's clearly against abortion. As a libertarian, he believes in the right of human life, even of the unborn. He attacked the Pope. He fiercely attacked the Pope. He's opposed to, because he said the Pope, he doesn't understand, does not speak out against communists. And he seems to be a friend and appeaser of the communists. He was a friend of Castro, a friend of Maduro. He was not a friend of the last truly democratic president that Argentina had, Macri. He sees him as a Jesuits, and the Jesuit Pope is a Jesuit, and he has a reputation, a certain reputation for being rather communist-leaning. So he attacks the Pope firmly. He said some things I can't repeat. I won't repeat on this tape here. He referred to the architecture in Buenos Aires, because it was interesting. Tucker Carlson brought it up that the architecture you can see in Argentina has what he called tells. You can tell from, and then Milei pointed this out, refers to the beautiful architecture. The more beautiful is the classical from the more liberal times. And then there's the more square, stately, stoic, austere buildings that seem to to point to a socialist Argentina, to even communist, with Soviet, and Tucker Carlson agreed with him then. And the history of that kind of Argentina over the last 100 years can be seen there, and even in its architecture. I thought that was interesting. He advised Trump, he advised America not to fall for the siren song of socialism, and for Donald Trump to redouble his efforts to continue what he's doing. He recommended that the wealthy capitalists, that they put money, they invest in conservatism, in the right, in supporting in America, in America. Because the socialists, they'll do whatever, they'll always have their financiers. They will seek to their move, to their ends, they won't build anything, they won't accomplish anything, because they're parasites. And they will, in this country or any country, in Argentina, the United States, seek to live off the people, to live off the money of others. Excuse me. Well, so the bottom line, he's something else. He's quite a character. Can he do what he wants to do? He wants to take it out of the hands of politicians and return the country to the people. Sounds familiar. Sounds like Donald Trump. What do I see happening? My conclusion is, look, if he's elected, I think he's going to be Javier Milei will be rowing upstream a little bit. It'll be a little difficult, be a little tough. He may not have that many in Congress from his party, La Libertad Avanza. What they will do to him will be like, I have a cousin in Argentina who he says the politicians putting los palos en las ruedas, putting sticks in the wheels, sticks in the spokes. Which we might say in this country, gumming up the works. There'll be no cooperation. And we saw that in 2020, when beyond the riots or demonstrations, there was violence, much in opposition to Trump. I think what the socialists bring, what the left side brings, nothing good. I think it would be very tough. I think he will have a tough time. He also said he will not cooperate, he will not work with communist countries. He said Argentinians can continue to do business with and in communist countries, but that Argentina won't. That includes China, of course, and now he considers Brazil too, with President Lula da Silva, seen as an outright communist. China has bases in the southern part, in the Patagonia part of Argentina, from inland that they brought from Argentina. And it's so secretive what they're doing there, they haven't even told the Argentine government. There's no idea. Although, of course, we all have our suspicions what China may be doing there. As for Brazil, not doing work cooperating with Brazil, I see him in foreign policy. He's going to have a hard time doing that. They are each other's biggest trading partners and a huge part of business in Latin America. But if he can do it, if he can manage to be firm with communists and shut down the doors, as a friend told me today, he hopes that Argentina will promote relations, improve relations with the United States and with Europe, and I'm all for that. I think that would be a good idea. That's a very good thing. I wish him well, but I think it's a tough row to hoe. He's quite a character, and he's going to rub some people the wrong way. I see him, he's Trump 2.0, if not Trump 2.0, he's the Latin American version of Trump. And he has his supporters among them in the conservative world, being Trump for one, former President Bolsonaro of Brazil, Senator Ted Cruz of the United States. And I wish him well, but I think it's going to be a tough time. But he's something else, and the election next month in Argentina is going to be very interesting. He can either be elected directly if he takes over 50% of the vote, or it may go off to a runoff in November. But we'll see what happens, though. Thank you again for watching me, either on the Language Cafe or American Update. My name is Edgar. Please leave your comments, leave your point of view on Mr. Milei, Javier Milei, and maybe subscribe to my channel. Give me some likes. Please enjoy my other videos on this channel. Thank you very much. Hasta la vista. Bye for now.